Hey everyone, Nolar here, back on the 5-9 mobile channel, and today we're going to be talking about some controversial stuff as usual. It's about Genshin Impact's first year anniversary, and the fans are in definite outcry right now. Well, I've got Gail with me to, our resident Genshin expert, to explain a little more clearly as to what's going on. So Gail, say hello to the beautiful people.
Hello everybody, how's everybody doing today? Looking forward to this one, considering I've already had my thoughts on it on my channel, so I wanted to obviously come over here and talk to Nolar because 1 year ago we did the whole beginner's guide. That was actually one of our first videos on the channel, right? So it's kind of apt to come back and look back 1 year later on how they've done, and today you would have hoped that it would have been in a positive manner, but alas, here we are.
Yeah, it's been interesting to say the least. Yeah, so the reason why we're going to talk about this is because Forbes, now, if you guys don't know what Forbes is, it's a very well-known publication, pretty much for anything related to finances, and they're talking about Genshin Impact's anniversary debacle. Yeah, it's really interesting because the most unique part about it is that Genshin Impact is a gacha game, but it's had such far-reaching potential out there with other gamers, people like the normies is what we would say, people who don't even talk about mobile games or anime-style games. They're playing Genshin Impact and they're all in on it. So it's very interesting to see that it's gone to the mainstream where everybody's talking about it, not just the small gacha community, not just the adjacent gaming community. We're talking about the mainstream media. They're the ones talking about it, and it's very obvious because Genshin Impact has been a huge financial success for Mihoyo. They put in I think, what is it, 100 million into producing the game, and now it's worth $1 billion. So there's that, right?
No, I agree. I mean, the last time quote unquote gacha game, I know some people don't count it as one, but it has in-app purchases and it's a chance-based game, is Pokemon Go. The last mainstream gacha game, if there was one, it was Pokemon Go, and even then it's debatable if that was a gacha game, right? So yeah, seeing Genshin obviously blow up was insane. Obviously, I remember when the video game awards came out and we saw Genshin as part of the awards list for like stuff like best RPG, best mobile game and stuff, and it was like, I think that was the first time we've seen a gacha game get to that point, right?
Yep.
And it has reached this mainstream point where people can't argue that fact. It is to the point where the average person is playing it, and Mihoyo did a fantastic job with the launch, arguably, right? They managed to get this open world gacha game, which is very rare in the gacha game industry. They managed to get it on consoles, the first to get it to consoles outside of, I guess, Duel Links, right? On PC, that is.
Yep.
But even then, not even on PS4, PS5, or anything of that sort. Genshin got onto the PS4, PS5. We still have the Switch release to go, which we still don't know where it is, but that's a different scenario and a different topic altogether. So yeah, the fact that, the whole anniversary situation is, absolutely dire, I think that's the best way to put it, is definitely going to reach, big news publishers and stuff like that. And yeah, Forbes, like you said, is one of the biggest publishers of all in existence, right? So the fact that they're covering it is, it's something. It is definitely something.
Yeah, so I obviously don't play Genshin anymore today, but at one point I did, or rather I funded an account that did. But I guess the real thing I gotta ask you, Gail, is just kind of give us a rundown. What made this anniversary so terrible? Where I know the rewards are bad, but how bad are they? And is the outcry even justified in this case?
I think it is very justified in certain situations. I think there is definitely room for criticism on Mihoyo, towards Mihoyo, for sure. I think the biggest issue is that the in-game side of things doesn't feel like an anniversary, right? If you look outside of the game and you look at the community challenges and everything, they are doing a lot of competitions, such as, cosplay competitions, art, animation competitions. They had a whole Hoyo Fair stream where, they showed off people's animations and stuff. But the biggest problem with even that, and we'll talk about the in-game in just a second, but the biggest problem with the, the IRL stuff that they were doing is that they were relying a lot on people who had talent, right? And arguably, I'm one of them. Not a lot of the Genshin players have a lot of talent, to be honest. We play the game, we enjoy it, and that's it, yeah? So and on top of that being a chance-based reward, it was kind of like, but why though, kind of thing, right? Like if they had like for example, if they had just like a general, online quiz or something, 20 questions, answer it, and if you know stuff about Genshin, you'll solve all of it, or you could cheat, right? And you get 500 Primogems. I think people would have been happy with that. And just having, competitions that everybody could achieve something, and they'd give like a very nominal reward would have been fine. Getting onto the in-game stuff hasn't been great either, right? Because all we have in the in-game right now is just two events going on. One is a login bonus, which is like 10 intertwined fate, which they've already done for Chinese New Year. It's the exact same, ditto. Even the Mora, the EXP books you get, everything, the amount of currency you get, it's exactly the same as what you got in Chinese New Year, which I think is another issue of where like it doesn't feel like anniversary. It just feels like an extension of the Chinese New Year celebration that they had a couple of months ago. So that's where also people had a lot of like things to say. Even I felt like they could have just given an extra multi, and I think nobody would have had an issue, to be honest. And then the event itself is like basically it's a slightly more varied event, but it's not like a drastic event where it's like, oh, you're gonna be able to do so much and it feels like an anniversary. It just feels like a normal event, right? And on top of that, there's nothing in game that feels like an anniversary. You don't see any sort of like wording about anniversary. There is literally no wording that, oh yeah, we have an anniversary going on right now, right? Like even the login bonus is called Passage of Clouds and Stars. It's not even called anniversary login bonus or something like that, right? And the biggest issue is like there's no, like, for example, there's no weapon enhancement bonus, there's no artifact leveling up bonus, there's no character leveling up bonus. So the usual stuff, like for example, Nolar, about Docon, we have 4 times experience, we have Baba shop sales and stuff like that, right? There's nothing of that in the game right now, like that gives you like, oh, for like a period of 1 week you can get a bonus in your EXP leveling or anything of that sort, right? On top of that, there's name cards in the game, gliders and stuff, skins are now in the game, and they didn't do any of that either, which was a surprise to me, because you could have even put a skin for sale and people would have been like, okay, you know what, here's like, okay, that makes sense, that's an anniversary skin, you're putting it up for sale, sure, we'll buy it, kind of thing, because it's the anniversary. It feels like the anniversary, at least, right? And also the final thing, which was like the nail in the coffin for me, like a couple of weeks ago when we got the live stream information, because I've been one who's tempered my expectations since August, pretty much, when the 2.1 live stream happened for this update, right? Where, we should have got an anniversary news and there was literally nothing in that stream. The biggest thing for me was when they announced the banners, and the more popular banner, their highest selling banner, by the way, came out first, which was before the anniversary, and the current banner is the least selling banner because they've put out the worst character in the game, or the worst 5-star that they've ever released, arguably, right now. And that to me is also a damning thing, because usually whenever you get an anniversary or something, it's like, oh, hype banner, there's something really good to summon for it. But even that's not there in the game. So a lot of these factors are just combining together to create this sort of like very poor anniversary feeling. Yeah. Just like there's no anniversary feeling to it. And that's the biggest thing. There's no feeling of an anniversary. Even if they had done something or the other to make it feel like an anniversary, I think a name card or glider or more communication maybe, or better login bonus, better event, I think then people would have been like, you know what, sure. Even if the event, the Moonlight Merriment event that you're seeing on your screen right now, if it was like, say, called the anniversary event or something, right? People would have been like, okay, at least it feels like somewhat of an anniversary, but there's no feeling in game that it's an anniversary. Like a lot of people I've seen on, Twitter, on YouTube, and just Reddit and stuff, is that they've been like, I've only come online and I realized it's an anniversary. If I was in game, I wouldn't have realized it's an anniversary.
Right. Okay. So the community is out in uproar because there's really nothing coming from other gacha game systems that really make you feel like a big celebration. Now, the thing about anniversaries are, it's a good time when you're saying like rate ups, or 4 times XP for Docon, or like you said, weapon XP increase, like double chance, or whatever the case may be. Usually those systems are in place because they're trying to lure new people to play the game during the anniversary event. So it's like a good time to play. Like, all right, I'll get more from my buck than if I started a month ago or a month from now, right? But I don't know if you have the graph ahead, but there was a graph that literally shows Genshin's player retention like the people playing the game, it's increasing over time. So obviously at the beginning, it's like a straight upward slope from last year to today. It hasn't really dipped. It's just continually increasing in its game. Yeah, that's the one we're talking about. So in my mind, I mean, it kind of justifies it to them, but to us, it sucks. But like to them, it's like, why would we even try to entice new players when we've been consistently having more players throughout the days coming in? You see what I'm saying? So why should we throw out these events that do this and that? So either way, I'm trying to play devil's advocate and say, well, maybe this is their reasoning. It sucks. If it was their reasoning, regardless, it sucks because the anniversary is a time for you to celebrate the players, celebrate, you know, they're the ones that made all the $1 billion for Mihoyo to make this a profitable, profitable venture for them. So I feel really bad for the players. I really do. I mean, you spent your time, you know, money for a good chunk of people. It feels really bad. So let's talk about what's going on then. So I think today you and I were talking and we found out that people aren't happy, so they're starting to review bomb the game.
2.2 stars right now. It was at, I think it was at like 1.9 at one stage in a half an hour ago, but it's gone back up to 2.2 because I assume Google's also starting to clear up some stuff, I think.
Yeah, so look, I've always had the stance that review bombing is not, it's good and bad. The thing is, like, you want to get you want people to pay attention, right? You want to get the attention of the developers, and the best way to do it is to review bomb it. Now, how effective it is, I don't know. Because the thing is, one, if you just put a 1 star and don't make a comment, that is a signal to Google that's a bot and they're just going to delete it. So if you're, I mean, I'm giving you the dirty tricks, but if you're going to review bomb and have it stick, put a 2 star and leave a comment, okay? You don't want it to be removed if that's the case. So there's that. But on top of that, the reason why it is effective is because the people that, like, they're going to, like, Google and Apple are going to promote the app in the game as much in their play and app stores. And when they see that, when people see that, they obviously look at the average reviews and then they start looking at reviews. Maybe they'll read it, maybe they won't, but they'll look at it and it will have an impact on them. How much of an impact, I don't know, but like it actually does have something. But again, if you just leave a 1 star and don't leave a comment, Google's gonna Google and Apple will remove it because they think it's a bot, and then off you go. Your impact doesn't have anything there. So, but yeah, so people are frustrated. So taking it out on the game with a terrible with the review bombing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Gail?
I think it's fair in the sense of, like, obviously if they are, you know, I mean, we know that they have been obviously we'll come on to the whole social media side of things and what, you know, what they've assumingly been doing in terms of, like, you know, deleting comments and stuff from their own websites and stuff. Hoyo Lab, that is, of course. I think that there is a fair point to, you know, go after them in terms of, like, criticizing them and everything, and especially because if they are actually, you know, deleting comments and stuff, this is the best alternative to do if they're not listening, of course. And one thing we also have to remember that yesterday, actually, or at the time of recording, it would be yesterday for them. Yesterday on the 28th was a national holiday for them. So it was kind of bad timing that they were, you know, probably not working during the day. They should have probably been working and, you know, seeing what was happening in terms of the community and stuff like that, right? I think it's fair to review bomb, but I think it's obviously fair to review bomb with proper criticism. If it's just like, oh, there should have been just better rewards, that's not really a great way of explaining yourself, right? I think there should be like a proper explanation and in detail explanation of why, you know, this wasn't a good anniversary, right? You can't just go there like saying, anniversary sucks, bad lol, kind of, and just give a 1 star, because even Google will turn that down as well. So like Nolar said, if you really want to give good criticism, give a 2-star rating. Again, we're giving you the tips and tricks of how to get past Google's system and actually potentially get to them, is give a 2-star rating and actually give a proper in detail explanation of why the anniversary was bad. Don't just go anniversary bad lol kind of thing, because it won't work. It won't work. They will just be like, but okay, sure, move on kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're going to get 10 to 20% of the people, they're just going to troll, right? The 1 stars, no comments, or terrible comments there. But if they see enough people that give a low rating but have legitimate criticisms, they'll skip one, but if they see hundreds or thousands, well, then that's when they'll turn their heads and be like, all right, hold on, something's wrong, right? We need to fix this. At least I imagine that's what should happen. You know, other games that have review bombed and got the attention of the developers, that was the case. You give good criticism, and if enough people speak their voices, that's fine. Now, I'm gonna move on to the next part here, which is, you know, Mihoyo's, they make Genshin Impact, but they make other games too, like Tears of Thermos there. But of course, Honkai Impact, people are review bombing Honkai Impact for the terrible setup for that's happening in Genshin, which is kind of stupid because they're two separate games. Yep. They're made by the same production company, sure, in studio, but they've got two different teams. So Honkai themselves don't deserve, it's a very, very good game. I'm not, you know, it's actually probably my favorite gacha game. It's just too grindy for me, but I heard things have changed, so maybe I revisit. But overall, like, you can't, yeah, that one there. Yeah, but like, Mihoyo, please fix the Genshin Impact anniversary. Like, why? These guys, the people working on Honkai, have barely any relation to the people who are working on Genshin. It's two separate teams. Yes, under one branch, one company, one bracket, but they're two separate teams. So it feels bad because the Genshin deserves to be, you know, get their talking to, but Honkai is just the innocent bystanders, the brother just sitting in the corner, right? So it's like, what do you mean? Yep.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Honkai review bombing as a result of Genshin?
I think that's a bit extra. There's no reason for that. There's absolutely no reason for that. I mean, you should focus on trying to, you know, like, I understand it's to try and get the attention of the company, but you're already doing that with the actual game itself that needs the, you know, attention, not this other game that's actually doing somewhat well for its own, you know, it's on its, well, 50th anniversary on JP. I think it's on 3rd, 4th anniversary on global, if I'm not mistaken. I could be corrected on that. But yeah, let it survive, let it breathe. I will say also one thing. I've been speaking to a lot of Honkai players, and I don't know if you were around for the 1st anniversary, Nolar. A lot of players are actually saying that the anniversary in Honkai was very similar to, or the 1st anniversary for Honkai was very similar to Genshin's 1st anniversary, which is kind of weird to me, because why are you making the same mistake you already did? And because those are two different times as well, right? If that was the 1st anniversary then, back in like 2016, 2017, why are you making the same mistake now when you know it's going to be a bigger repercussion, right? But that's a different point altogether. But yeah, I just don't think they should be going after like Honkai when, you know, the focus should be on Genshin more than anything else. And there's no reason to go and review bomb other games that the company makes, because it's, like you said, two different teams, two different development teams, and yeah, it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I look back at Docon's 1st year anniversary, you know, just as something that I could tell you guys. I was there for that. We got 1 stone a day, which sounds crazy because nowadays we get like 3, 4, 5 stones a day during like celebrations. But back then,
we're getting 10. We're getting 10 now. Remember?
Oh, right,
like right now during the
so like back then you were guaranteed 1 stone. Before the 1 year anniversary, there were months where we had no stones coming in. Period. Yeah. Okay, so keep that in mind. So like, yeah, the 1st year anniversaries, especially back then in 2016, 17, it was a little sparse, but we kind of kept with it because it felt like an anniversary, right? There was raid ups, there was stuff to do, you know, events to farm. Here, I just feels really awkward because it's the exact opposite. Like, there's nothing that, like you said, gives the feeling of an anniversary. It's special, a celebration, honoring the players, giving them stuff to do, really giving back to the community. And like you said, they're doing it in their own way with like real life competitions and, you know, people who have artistic visions. And that's cool. But like you said, that's maybe 10% of their player base. Like, you got to appease a good chunk of your player base. And for the most part, people are playing the game. So why don't you deal and give rewards in game, right? So all right, the last bit we wanted to talk about was the just social media stuff. So you can fill me in on this. What happened?
All right, so of course, you know, when the whole thing started kicking off, I think it was like early morning for me. It would have been like nearly 10 p.m, 11 p.m EST. That would have been effectively for those living in America. And obviously things started kicking off a bit because, you know, we were approaching probably the last bit of news we would have gotten in the day. I think it was around 9:30 a.m. my time, noon CST. That would have been China Standard Time, noon, and EST midnight, basically. And that was the last piece of information we got. And, you know, we got the we got some information. We did get a promo video, basically, a web event to, you know, go over and reminisce the 1 year, which was very nice, by the way. I will say that was a very nice touch, by the way, you know, them showing off everything, although some people are saying it's kind of fake, some of the information that they gave in that. But they basically go over the last year of how many, you know, enemies you've killed, you know, what was the first character you got to friendship level 10, what you did, when you did. And it was kind of cool. It was very nice. It was a very nice touch. I really liked it. But that was it. That was the last thing we got. And after that, you know, I saw this being posted around. I know it was one of the Dragalia Lost players. I don't remember his Twitter ad. I'm so sorry about that. But he posted this around, and I quote tweeted it saying, you know what, I'm not surprised in terms of, like, you know, people won't quit over this, like, whole social media Discord. But then I looked a little bit more into it, and even on the Gacha Gaming Reddit, some people were talking about it. And they looked at NG and Tieba, because those are, I'm pretty sure those are Chinese communities, basically, or forums, basically. And they said that that too is fake, that's not happening. They're not deleting anything or being nuked. The threads are not being nuked or anything. So that was fake. The Genshin subreddit is not in lockdown. What they did was they deleted all the posts and just made one post like a mega thread so that people could, you know, vent their frustrations and stuff like that. So the Reddit side is also kind of false. It's not really exactly true, because they even the mods are like, yeah, we understand you want to, you know, vent your frustrations and everything. But yeah, the Discord on the other side is not ban people, but right now at the time of recording, they have a 30-minute slow mode going on right now. So if you type once, you can't type again for 30 minutes in the Discord.
Oh my god.
So they're kind of trying to ease there, because what's happening is people are just spamming, you know, like emotes of like Chi-Chi lying on the floor, just, you know, blanked out, effectively like a dead face kind of, which is hilarious. And Hoyo Lab, I haven't seen much on Hoyo Lab. I'm pretty sure nothing's been purged. However, there was one, it was I think a couple of days ago, where the fan art stream, the one where, you know, the animations and all were getting shown off. A lot of people were, you know, spamming and putting up hate and everything against, obviously, the anniversary being bad and everything. So what they did was they just nuked that post and shifted it to the main website for Genshin, the Genshin website, that is. And since there's no comments in there, they could just run with that. So that was the one case I know from Hoyo Lab. Genshin's in-game stuff, the changing your name and signature, it happens more often than you think it does. Every time there's a national holiday in China, you can't change your name or signature. Since yesterday was a holiday, I'm pretty sure today we should be back to normal once reset happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just don't think like a lot of this is true. Obviously, you know, at the end of the day, mods will have to kind of control people so that they're not just spewing hate against each other, because if one person still enjoys the game, the other person shouldn't like insult that person for actually enjoying the game, right? Like
right.
That's a bit extreme, right? So I think you know, what everybody's trying to do is just try and manage the people so that, you know, at the end of the day, it shouldn't go out of control. But at the same time, I haven't seen anybody like completely like just nuke people for trying to even say a bad word about the anniversary so far, at least to me.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I think people are taking, trying to exacerbate things and make it out worse than it actually is. So yeah, it's one thing to be unhappy about this, but to, you know, spread misinformation, all that kind of stuff, it's really not a good sign for us. It doesn't help us in a little bit. Yeah.
So I would say also, like, you know, one thing, like, I know obviously Legends hides replies, and obviously because they hide replies for a good reason, because some of the stuff in the replies is stupid to be honest. But the one thing I will say is, like, I've seen Genshin swear, I've not seen a hidden reply yet. Like, you know, usually whenever you go onto their tweet, you can see that hidden reply icon. I don't think they've hidden a single reply. So even if people are replying to the Twitter, at least you have that as well. So they're definitely not trying to like stop people from, you know, venting their frustrations, I suppose. I do believe, like, the one thing I am hoping for, and the one thing I will say on Mihoyo's end that they haven't been fantastic in the last update or two has been communication. They're not as active in communication as they used to be. So I am curious to see what they will do in the next coming days, especially with the 3rd of October being a new, they're going to show off for the next update at Tokyo Game Show. So I'm curious to see what will happen then. But yeah, that's just one point I wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people are upset, and rightfully so. You know, you feel the way you feel, and the only way to vent, you know, is through social media. Any ways you can directly contact them, So review bombing, if you feel like review bombing, you know, obviously, if you want it to stick, follow what Gail and I had mentioned. But leave out all the innocent bystanders like Honkai. Don't go review bombing Honkai, or being toxic on their Discord or, you know, Hoyo Lab or whatnot. So just
or even one last thing as well. Please don't go harass the VAs or the developers of the game. Like, they're trying their best as well, you know. And I still remember, I don't know if you remember what happened with Honkai a couple of months ago. The you know, the attack on the founders, I suppose is the best way to put it, right? So don't do that. Like, it's not right. They're also innocent bystanders. They're just working for the company. At the end of the day, if you have any frustrations to vent, like we said, review bombing correctly first and foremost. I think that's the best way to put it. Correctly review bombing, and then on top of that, you know, put it in the appropriate channels. Try and, you know, vent your frustrations through the appropriate channels. I'm pretty sure they all see the comments and everything. So maybe, you know, at the end of the day as well, you know, everything also speaks with your wallet, right? Like, you know, whenever you're spending on Genshin, try and think twice as well. Like, I'd say, you know, if you reduce your playtime, you reduce your expenditure, that'll also be an indication to them saying like, okay, you know what, we may have made a mistake here, considering everybody's kind of like going away from the game somewhat. So that's also another thing, or another way to kind of vent your frustration and, you know, show that what they're doing is not right.
Absolutely. So, yeah, to wrap this up, guys, you know, let us know what your thoughts are on Genshin. Are you still playing? Are you happy? Don't care? Really upset? Let us know how you feel about it, or what you've done to make your voices heard. With that said, thanks a lot, Gail, for joining me on basically doing an overview of Genshin's first year anniversary. Lackluster anniversary, I want to say. But overall, if you guys like the content, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment down below, share with your friends. It helps us out, and we greatly appreciate it. And let us know if you want more Genshin content here on the channel. Now that we are 5.9 mobile, maybe that's something you guys want to see. We can definitely do that. So let us know. All right, with that said, Gail and Nolar, we're out.
Bye-bye.